A group of would-be criminals kidnaps a 12-year-old daughter of a powerful underworld figure. Holding her for ransom in an isolated mansion, their plan starts to unravel when they discover their young captive is actually a bloodthirsty vampire. This movie is directed by Radio Silence. Radio Silence have been on fire over the past few years, making some of my favorite recent horror movies. Ready or Not was great, and I loved Scream 5 and 6. So I was really excited to see them make another original movie with Melissa Barrera as the lead. Unfortunately, I left this one a little underwhelmed. I still had a fun time with it, but I just wanted a little bit more from it. To me, it felt a little too derivative of Ready or Not and even their Scream movies at times, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because, like I said, I love all those movies, but I was hoping to see them try something different, and they kind of did, but they also kind of didn't. Like Ready or Not, the movie just takes place in a big ass mansion that the characters are all stuck in, and some other spoilery things I can't get into, but if you've seen Ready or Not and you watch this movie, you'll definitely pick up on them. The score was done by Brian Tyler, who also did the score for Scream 5 and 6, and there were some pieces of the score that sound like they were just ripped straight out of Scream 5 and 6, which I also thought was kind of funny. I also think they just gave way too much away in all the trailers and marketing for this film because there's really no surprises. If they could have found a way to keep the whole vampire thing a secret, I think this movie would have genuinely blown me away. Instead, I was kind of just sitting there waiting for the vampire shit to happen, and when it does, it's cool, but it's nothing that I haven't seen before. This movie also leaned way more into the comedy than their other films have. The Radio Silence style has always been a nice blend of horror and comedy, but the ratio is just way off in this one. There's nothing even remotely tense or scary, and that's a shame because I think Matt and Tyler are great horror directors. You can go back to the most recent film, Scream 6, where there's honestly some of the most tense moments in the entire Scream franchise in that movie, but there's just nothing like that here. I was never even close to being on the edge of my seat while watching this movie, and that's kind of disappointing for me. On paper, a Radio Silence vampire movie sounds fucking great, but ultimately, I think they just played it very safe, and they really didn't do anything too interesting with this amazing concept. All that being said, I still had a really fun time with this movie. I don't see it as a horror movie at all, but more of like a campy, bloody, dark comedy. And if that sounds cool to you, you're gonna love this movie. But if you wanted a little bit more horror like I did, I think you're gonna be kind of mixed like I am. The biggest strength of this movie is its amazing cast. Melissa Barrera is awesome as usual. She's a badass that you want to root for. She's definitely solidifying herself as a modern Scream queen, and I just can't wait to see what she does next. Alisha Weir was incredible as Abigail. The entire movie kind of rests on her shoulders because if she wasn't good in the movie, it would kind of ruin it completely, but she brought some great physicality to the role, and she was surprisingly funny also. Dan Stevens is amazing as the unofficial leader of the group of criminals who's just kind of a prick. He's really hamming it up, and I thought he was really funny. I loved him in The Guest from 2014, so it was really cool to see him in something else. Hopefully he gets more roles after this, because I think he's a great actor. I really enjoyed Kathryn Newton as well. I thought she was really funny and had some of the best scenes in the movie, and she's another up-and-coming actress that I just can't wait to see where her career goes. Kevin Durand was also very funny. He plays a stereotypical strong, dumb guy, but he plays it well, and he gave me the biggest laugh in the movie. And it's always great to see Giancarlo Esposito. I fucking love him. I just wish he was in the movie more. He kind of gets wasted here. And finally, Angus Cloud, man, it's such a tragedy. I loved him so much in Euphoria as Fez. He was my favorite character in that show, and I just couldn't wait to see his career take off after it. I don't know if this is his last role, but if it was really cool to see him one last time on the big screen. As usual, I thought he was great. He was one of my favorite characters in the film, and he's just really funny, and he's got like this kind of like rough edge to him, but he's also just kind of wholesome at the same time. It's just so sad, man. R.I.P. Angus.
Shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me.
I also thought the movie looked great. Radio Silence just know how to make a movie look dope. There's lots of cool shots, lots of fun stuff with the camera, and there's a lot of cool effects in here as well. I will say, I think the movie moves at a pretty good pace for the most part, but I did think the ending kind of dragged on just a little bit longer than it needed to. But overall, Abigail was a fun watch. The cast is great, and they had great chemistry with one another, but unfortunately, there's no horror in this horror movie. But the comedy works well, and there's some fun over-the-top vampire blood and gore. Abigail is clocking in at a 75% on the Bravo barometer. Even though this is my least favorite Radio Silence film and it kind of disappointed me, I still had fun with it. I just really enjoy their filmmaking style, and it's definitely a movie I'd watch again if I was in the mood for a fun vampire comedy that isn't What We Do in the Shadows. But if I'm being honest, I'd probably still go with What We Do in the Shadows 9 times out of 10. But those are just my opinions. Let me know what you thought of the movie and my review in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more reviews and streams coming very, very soon. And as always, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, everybody.